All right, so I'm going to talk about, Tony did a great job of talking, and he's been a great resource for me when I took this dive. So, I'm a lineman, a college football player in a grinder system, coached that way for, I think this was my 17th year, so probably the first 14 years of my career, including the first probably 7 as a head coach or 6. Had pretty good success doing it, but we just needed something else. So if you're like me and you're in that mode where you need something else, a boost, I got in touch with Tony because I started coaching track. And, we took the deep dive down to this, and we'll never go back. So if you're in this position today where you're a little apprehensive, hopefully I can give you some things that we do. We're a small school. Tony gave us too many kids. We only have 242 kids. We usually get about 50 kids out in our program. And so I'll share some of those things. And I put this picture up there because, that's our dude. That's our track guy, all-state track guy. He's our fastest kid in the school. He 6 interceptions his sophomore year in his first year playing varsity, 2 for 90 yards. Last year he averaged over 11 yards a carry, and he's powerful, but he doesn't live in the weight room. He's speed. And he's still able to maintain, 180, 185 pound guy. So I wanted to start with a question I posed on Twitter back in December, I think, or November. I think it was December, about how many hours coaches were spending on football. And this wasn't time that they're spending at home watching film. This was time together with kids in meetings or with coaches together. And this was kind of the winner right here. This guy was super proud to tell me that this was his weekly schedule. And I think this is absolutely crazy. If you're a high school football coach and you think this is anywhere, shape, or form good for your health, your players, your relationships, your family life, anything like that. And I X'd out Friday night because Friday nights are long nights. We understand that. Sometimes we get home late. But you look at that weekend, they would go in at 7 a.m. to 4 on Saturday and 9:30 to 8 p.m. And a lot of coaches were proud about how many hours they were putting in. The average, and we've always done it this way because we did it the same way for 13 years because that was just how we did it before we changed. But this was the average. So average people are spending, a little over 3 hours on Monday, a little more than that on Tuesday, about the same Wednesday, backing it down a little bit Thursday. Like I said, I excluded game day, but the average time that coaches were meeting together or with players was between 2 or 2.5 to 3 hours on the weekend. And so the average was a total of 17 hours of football. And some of you can look at that and say, yeah, we're more than that, we're less than that. And like I said, this did not include field preparation, any of the game day stuff or stuff that you were doing on your own. So this is stuff where you are meeting together as a group. This is a high school. I understand college is different, but this was at the high school level. And because I just wanted to kind of see where coaches were at, because our plan is way different than that. So this is our plan weekly. And to some of you would probably call us lazy or, we're not doing our jobs, or like Tony said, we should be fired because, how can you get, and the question's already on the chat, how can you get enough work in? I think it's a couple things. I think people try to have too many things in. Tony talked about finding the 20%. I had our offensive coordinator, we didn't, we believe in the principle, less is more and things like that. But I just asked him, I said, hey, I want you to find our most ran plays, our 20% of our plays, and I want to see what that equated to yardage wise. And our top, I think it was 8 plays, equated 20% of our offense, and that was 78% of our yardage in those plays. And so that's what we spend our practice on. We don't spend our practice on all these gadget things and conditioning and all this other stuff. So we're able to get in and out. And our practices are so much more focused. Our kids enjoy coming to practice. Our kids are itching to get back to training because, they know we're not going to go in there and bury them and do all these things. And they're ticked that they haven't had a chance to sprint and jump and do the things that we do on a daily basis. And then probably the biggest thing that most coaches don't do is they never rest, and their players never rest. And for 13 or 14 years when our Friday game got over and we got home at midnight and the kids got home and did whatever and went to bed, as we had them right back up at, 7:45 a.m. To watch film, and, then got them out of there by 9:30. But what was the point? And how good was that film session that early in the morning when the coaches probably hadn't had a lot of time to even dissect the film? And my answer was, I didn't want the kids going out and drinking beer and doing things they shouldn't do. But they're going to do that stuff anyway. If your culture allows that and the players allow it, we decided to go with high performance. So we're going to give our kids Saturday and Sunday off with meeting with us and our coaching staff. We don't meet on the weekends, and we do everything online. And I'm not going to get into a lot of all that stuff because that's a whole different topic about, how we do things through Google Drive. But here's a little bit about what we do. Okay. We give them some things to watch, but like Tony said, the more cerebral and the more you make kids think about all these different things, offenses, all these formations, and we get our kids wanting to watch all this stuff. And then they come in on Monday and it's like, what the hell did you watch? Well, the guys are moving around and it's like, no, we have our guys understand what their basic stuff is. What are they trying to do? Where are they trying to attack us? Who's their best player and what plays are their best? And then we have them watch their position. Okay, if we're a guard read team and I'm the inside linebacker, what are the three things I'm going to get? Well, coach, I know that when he pulls, then I know it's counter, or when he reaches, I know they're running their jet stuff. That's what we want. We don't want them to watch tons and tons of film, and I don't do packets and have them do all that stuff at the high school level. We just don't. And, we come in and we have them figure out those best three runs and then what their keys are. And then we'll talk about that stuff on Monday. And then our coaches, we do everything through Google Drive and text message. And then we share notes and specific things through Huddle Messenger. We film as much as we can through the week of practice. And so we use that messenger feature on Huddle a ton to send a quick note, check out play 17. You missed the read here. This is what happened. And we got it. This has to be better tomorrow. And so we share that stuff. And then we share by Sunday night, we're sharing the game plan to our players through Huddle. And then we do give them a paper copy on Monday. But it just keeps our coaching staff fresh. It keeps their families interested in them continuing to coach because they know they're not going to leave on Saturday morning after they've been gone all week and spend all day Saturday or all day Sunday with coaches. And so I think that's a huge part of this. We're talking a lot about specific practices, and I think that was a piece for a while for us. We were getting better, but we were still overdoing it with the coaches and coaching staff. So you can't preach sprint-based football and less is more, but then make your coaches meet for 8 hours on Sunday, because in my opinion, most of those meetings are probably horseshit anyway. And, you do a lot of bitching about who you don't have and blah, 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 blah. And you do a lot of things that you can do on your own. And you don't need to be sitting around a table with 8 guys having some bitch session about all these different things. And I would probably more argue that coaches would be more focused if they were doing whatever their individual work was on their own. And then they were, if you did have a meeting, maybe it was a short, you just say, hey, we're going to meet for 60 minutes. Now we don't. We've been together for 10, 11, 12 years. We all know what our jobs are, and we put that stuff together, and we do it all online or through text. So what our schedule looks like. So obviously if we started, we had Saturday and Sunday off. Question about JV. Our JV plays on Monday. So we do bring our fresh soft players. That's what our JV is. We don't have a sub varsity because we only get 50 guys on our team. So our fresh soft play on Monday night. And so because they essentially had Friday night off because they didn't play in the game, if they played in the game, they don't practice Saturday or they don't play Monday. But if they're not, they had Friday off. So we do bring them in Saturday, and then they have Sunday off, and then they play on Monday. Our other varsity guys will do film and game plan since we didn't have the weekend. So we'll go through specific things. If there's a major thing for the week, we'll meet together, and then we break off into position groups. We'll hit a short 15-ish minutes, 20 minutes of our previous game and our upcoming game in some form or fashion. We may do our previous game, then come back together and then break off and talk about. But again, we don't spend tons and tons of time on that. Um, and then we do RPR, reflexive performance reset. Again, there's tons of information out there if you don't know what that is. But I'll talk a little bit about our injuries at the end and our lack of them. RPR is a huge reason for that, no doubt. And then we do essentially a track speed workout. So we do speed drills, and then we do sprint work. So we have 10 or 12 speed drills. A lot of it we've stolen from Tony. We've added a few things, but we do those high intense speed drills. And then we'll do 3 fly 10s, 340s, 10-meter starts, something like that. And we'll record them, we'll time them. So we're always timing them throughout the year. And it gives us an idea of where our kids are at. If I've got a 4 or 6 kid that runs 5-1-2 on Monday, he is not ready for a tough week of practice, and he may need another day of recovery, depending on what it is. And we can track that way. We were able to get a just jump mat in this year. We didn't get to use it much because of the COVID, but that's another way. I want to start tracking that vertical jump and seeing what our recovery is, our CNS recovery, by getting them on that jump mat and seeing how close are they in their recovery. And our guys generally, when you give them Saturday and Sunday off and you allow them to sleep in and watch football and do those things, is they come back Monday in pretty good shape. Then we don't go on the field at all. So Monday, I know some people do game plan install and all that kind of stuff. We feel best just sending them home, because then they come back Tuesday much better, because they're kind of hungry to get back on the field, especially if there's something that they kept screwing up on the last Friday night. They're kind of itching to get back on the field. As far as lifting, I get 90+% of my class or my team throughout the day. I teach athletic enhancement PE. So we're training Monday through Friday all the time. So if they did that lifting or sprint work with me in class, they don't have to do that stuff on that Monday. So they would do a lot of times we'll still have them do the speed drills. They'll do the RPR, and then they'll just cheer on whatever few guys we have left that didn't get to run. If we get into a year where they've all been in my class and we don't have any varsity guys that need to get that sprint work in, we'll send them home. We'll get our film work done, and they'll go home early on Monday too to get ready for those Tuesday, Wednesdays. And I know that's scary for a lot of people, because you think, well, there's so many things we could be doing on Monday. Well, sometimes if you have too much time on Monday, you install too much new stuff. And then your base stuff gets worse because you're trying to do all this new stuff. And then you got to lengthen practice out because you want to try this new thing. You want to add this wrinkle and all that. And then when push comes to shove, what is your identity? What are you actually good at? Or are you just average at a lot of stuff? So then on Tuesday, we're a helmets only team. So we do not put the pads on again. So our guys get from Friday night game, when they take the pads off at, let's say, 9:30 at night, they put a helmet on Tuesday, but they're not putting their shoulder pads on again until Wednesday of that week. Because we got a lot of things in drill work and takeaway stations in our return game and any install stuff or things that we can do against bags, hand shields, a lot of individual skill work that we can do without having the shoulder pads on and beating up on each other. You think about your summer restrictions, all the things that you do, you think about in your pre-practice when you got to build up, to be able to wear full pads. And then coaches just wear full pads for the rest of the year, and they use Tuesday and Wednesday to beat the shit out of each other, no matter the health of their players, no matter the recovery of their players, no matter if they had a tough opponent the week before or they have a tough opponent coming up. They just know that Tuesday is the day we're going to mash the hell out of each other, and Wednesday's the day we're going to mash the hell out of each other and do one-on-ones and goal line and all this kind of stuff. And then nothing's building towards Friday. You're trying to get as much work as you can get in on Tuesday and be physical. And then you're trying to do the same thing on Wednesday. And then it's like, what about Friday? What if both of those days are killing your Friday? And most coaches would say, no, we won't be ready for Friday unless we beat the hell out of each other on Tuesday. And we don't take that approach. Everything for us builds towards Friday. And so like 7-on-7, we do 7-on-7 with just helmets on. I mean, in Illinois, we have to do it that way all summer anyway. And then we go against bags. So just a typical practice for us. This was an hour. It looks like an hour 55. We do a pre-practice. We let our kids take care of most of that because our coaches are sometimes coming from a different building or whatever, and we're getting ready for practice. So they do our RPR and our speed drills. And if we have more time, depending on the day, because our school day gets out at 2:52. They do their own individual skill work out there. Some of the linemen do a drill series and some of that. So they do that on their own. And then we'll just get into our basic football stuff. And we're not mashing on each other. So we're doing our, like we went into our punt team stuff. If they have a couple blocks or something like that, it's a great time to be able to talk through some of that stuff. And in our defensive stuff, we were working some run versus pass read stuff that we could do very easily, and working on some technique stuff. And then we did an outside drill, which is just we allow perimeter runs into that as well, 7-on-7, working on coverages. And then depending on how much team time we wanted to put in there, we would go against some of their stuff, because at our level, our scout teams suck. There are younger kids, and so we don't spend a ton of time in team, especially on the team defensive side, because I want to piss my defense off, because I don't want to give them a whole bunch of reps. And if you really want to tick them off, don't give them that many reps to beat the hell out of the scout team, and they'll get pissed. Or if they get a big hit and you shut them down and you say, that's it, and then they really get mad. So then the next time they get a chance to go out, they're going to play even harder. And then that's a day where we might crowd some more of our team offensive stuff. So if in that day when you're in those helmets, if you're a tempo team and you're worried about being able to snap the ball fast and get up there, that's a good opportunity to work a little bit more of that tempo. Again, where we're not mashing each other. Sometimes we may go that on air with two groups instead of having a defense. If we have a defense, we teach them how to hold the bags. We make sure we can see that we're getting to our assignments. And I got a little bit of video of us. So this is us going against just a scout offense in a wing T situation later in the year. So you see our offensive guys are even wearing the hand shields, we call them. So you can see our guys moving around, and we're just working on our fits. I can see that we're fitting. Here's a fake punt situation that we're working on with just our helmets and shoulder pads on. It's an easy time to do something like that in that time period. Here we are working some trap. We're going against the bags. We ask our guys to block to the whistle, but we're just stopping that wear and tear. But I can see if the guys are taking the right first step, and I think of it like track. You want to be really good in the 4x1. Are you running the 4x1 every practice? No, you're working on handoffs and you're working on speed work, and then you put it all together. But too many of us coaches, we want to run our whole damn or try to run a game, but we're not even running a game, because in a game, like Tony said, we get 5 seconds of play and at minimum a 35-second recovery. But most of our practices don't look like that, because we always want to be on the go. And then after 6 plays, there's a change of possession. The average series is 6 plays. I was listening to Kier there at William and Mary. I think he said there was been one 20-play drive in the last decade of football, in the whole decade. But how many of us want to put 50 plays into a practice to get our guys ready when the average drive is 6 plays? And at most you might go 12, but 6 plays. And then you get a recovery before the next series, but we don't practice like that. So our sprint days, those are our only full pad days of the week. But we carry our pads out because we're going to do some type of sprint work with our pads off. We have our lowers on, but we carry our helmet shoulder pads out. And we usually, we might start mixing in, but because I get most of them in my class and we're already running 40s and 10s and some of that stuff, we try to make our skill specific. So we'll do some full speed time stuff where it might be our kickoff team. We may take some of them and time them, just see who's our fastest guys getting down the field. We may put the stopwatch on our kick return team and see how fast we can get it and score. Or we might do individual drills where we time our guys, where we time, for us, we're a double wing, double tight team. So we may time how fast and I got some video here of our run game, but if you were a spread team, you could throw a bubble out and time it. They could put a chip on, they catch it. Who's my fastest guy to catch a bubble and get 15? And so we do those things without the pads on, and just add some juice to practice. And we don't record those in terms of remembering everyone's times, but I yell them out, and those guys get competitive as hell. As opposed to going out there and running 15 bubbles at half-ass speed, let's run, 3 at full speed catch and run, and then do something crazy. Let them walk back to recover. And it'll piss you off because you don't want to see your guys walking, but you'll learn that, hey, if I let that guy, because I got 10 guys in a line, if I let him walk back, he's going to be ready to run that next one at that same speed, as opposed to making him jog back. And then like Tony says, if you're never in that high-low and you're always at that medium, then you're not ready to play on Friday because you've just trained him at that same jog, go tempo all the time. And then we may, when we put the pads on and do full speed work on Wednesdays, and it again depends on where we're at and what we need on how much of that stuff we're going to do. And honestly, if it is a really good opponent, we're going to do even less. And I know that sounds crazy, but if I know my guys are going to have to play like their asses off for 4 quarters, why in the hell am I going to beat the shit out of them on Wednesday against my scout team? I want them to be ready to go because I know they're going to have to play. Now, if it's a team that sucks and I know we're going to be up 40 at half, we may beat the hell out of them a little bit more on Wednesday and do a little bit more because I know my ones are probably going to be out in the half. And so, that all depends on who you're playing and where you're at in the season in that regard. So I tag all these with red periods I want us to be at full speed with generally a walk back tempo depending on where we're at. And so I put this schedule together, and then our coaches go on. This is all on Google. They go on and input their information for their individual drills. I just give them the time frame. And things that we're working on, Team O Time this year, doing a little bit better job because sometimes we'll just run 6 plays at a tempo, but we want to continue to work situations and work that energy system that we're going to need in a game. So we may have a period where we're going to field a kick return, and then we're going to go on a 6-play drive. Then we kick a lot of onside kicks. We're going to kick an onside kick, and then we're going to run a shot play. And we're going to do all that within the parameters of how the football game is played with a play clock and so forth. And that's going to be our team offensive period. And so when that situation happens and we go down and score in the game and our guys are excited and we're ready to kick that onside, we get it, boom, we're taking the shot play on the next play, and we've already practiced it. Instead of sitting out there from the 25-yard line and running play, getting pissed, run another play, get pissed, run another play. We're not running this right. You guys are lazy. Screw you. Get on the line. We're going to run gassers because you obviously don't care. I mean, how many times does that happen in your practice? And then you've really pissed the practice away because now they're running across the field, bitching in a half-ass tempo, and it's all shot because, there wasn't really a purpose. And so we're going to do, continue to add in things like that so that we're ready to go. But you look at the Team D period down there. It's 6 calls. And it pisses me off. It pissed me off when I played when coaches hide the practice plan. And it was because they had all this conditioning at the end. We don't hide anything from our kids. I post this practice plan in the locker room, and our kids look at it. And they know this, that we have the time. And I tell them, guys, we got a bunch of shit going after school. The coaches can't get out here. But if we can get our stuff done and we like it, we're going to keep rolling. And I hope to be done by 5. I know it says 5:10, but let's make it a day where we feel good about what we're doing. We get out of here by 5 o'clock. You guys get home, get some sleep so you can come back tomorrow. We can, wrap this week up and get ready for Friday night. So I say stuff like that to them. We're not married to these times. If we like it, if the first 3 Team D plays, we light them up and everyone's where they're supposed to be and they're excited, I may just shut them down. I might give our 2s a couple plays, or I may just bring them in and say, guys, we're so ready for this thing. I can't wait. Let's clean up a couple things on Thursday, but man, you guys are ready for Friday, as opposed to this, another play, another this, another that. And how many injuries are happening in your practice because your guys are so damn tired because you're in that hour, you're past hour 2, you're at 2.5, you're at hour 3, and now you're getting these injuries because physically the guys are not where they should be because of you've continued to run them in the ground. So you get the ankle and the ACL and all this other stuff because you've been making them do all this aerobic stuff during this whole practice. So here's just a rocket drill. Guys are wearing the free lap, and we're just timing to see how fast they can catch it and run. If I don't put that free lap out there, then we're running. Yeah, we can run 200 rocket tosses. It ain't going to be game-like until you give them a reason to do that. And then Thursday, we're helmet and shoulder pads. just so our guys can get, because we're a hand blocking team, so they can get their fits. We say no Thursday All-Americans, and it's short. I think of it like a rolling track schedule. We've got a list of things, special teams. We start with our kickoff team, and we hit, what we think our 2 best onsides are. Boom. We get a couple kickoffs. We like them. A couple onsides. Boom. Kick return. Looks great. Boom. Let's move on. And we go down through all of that. And there's a lot of weeks I don't give my defensive ones any reps on Thursday, because, again, I want to piss them off. And in my opinion, if I need Thursday after I've had Tuesday, Wednesday, and I've filmed it all and I've shared with them the things, if there's something I need to see on Thursday, then maybe, but I shouldn't have to see a whole lot on Thursday from a team defensive perspective. We may, if it's a heavy formation team, we may align to formations. That might be the only team defense that we get. Hey, make sure, and then I just talk through a couple of the things. Hey, remember, this is our adjustment here, blah, blah, blah. And then we move on. And then we have a script of what our best 5 plays are, our first 5. And then we'll run whatever our best 2 or 3 2-point plays are that we might need, then a 2-minute drill. And then we have a little fun at the end of practice with trick plays. And we're done in an hour 20-ish. And then we go have a team meal. And then we get the hell out of there. So I just wanted to show you how this went together. This is us installing a new play for us, a similar concept, but running it out of the I. So we normally have a down play where our wingback kicks out and our fullback runs off tackle. So we're adding it into I. So this is us. We talked about it Monday, talked about it on the board, and here's how we're going to do it. So this is Tuesday, where we're in helmet and shoulder pads. We're you see the offensive coordinator down there. He's telling the guys, make sure we've done it in group time. We've done it in now we're putting it together for the first time against pads. So this is the first time we've ran this play in a team setting with the bag. So we're making sure we're getting to our assignments. Okay. So then the next day we come back, we'll run the same play against bodies, and we miss an assignment. And then we come back on Friday. Okay. And that's our track guy going to the house. Okay. After this game, this was maybe week 6. Let me go back. So again, remember, you can see our wing back. He's not really killing this guy. But look at the effort that he comes across on – oh, shit. Sorry, got to go back. The effort that he comes across there. I don't know if I can get – I'm going to go one more time so you guys can see it. To that D end. And then this running back said, Coach, I have never felt this good physically. And this was week 6 of the football season. I've never felt this good. And again, you can see it. Our guys are getting off the ball. We get multiple pancakes. Our backside tight end gets to the safety. Okay. And that's without beating the hell out of our guys all week long. You'd think, oh man, I can't go against Bags on Tuesday. Our guys aren't going to be physical. They're not going to be ready. You know what? I challenge you to do the opposite. We're still doing our group work. There's times our guys are, we're going against each other in our individual time in a controlled setting. We don't just go out there and wave feathers at each other in practice. We practice football. But the amount of times that we line up 11 on 11 in practice and go 100% at each other is not very much. And in my opinion, at my level of football, and I would say most who have very limited substitution opportunities or depth, if you've got half of your guys, 6 guys sitting out, and you can bitch about their toughness and that they're soft, you need to check yourself and figure out if what I'm doing in practice is the reason that all my guys are beat up. And most football coaches, including myself for a long time, blamed it on all kinds of other things. The kids are soft these days. We're just not as tough as we used to be. Bullshit. If you give the kids an opportunity and you set them up to be successful, they will succeed. But if you beat the hell out of them all week and then you get pissed at them on Friday because they didn't play as well as you wanted to, then you double down the next week, then what's that going to be like after that? What's the next week? What's the next Friday? You think magically if you beat the hell out of them even more the next week, that next Friday they're going to be in a better position? You're crazy if you think that. And then we've all fallen into that trap. So I would challenge you to figure out what you can cut out and what you've got in your practice that is not transferring over to Friday night or Saturday. And I bet you've got a lot of things that you're doing, but you don't really know why you still have it in. You just have always done it, and it ain't showing up on Friday. So get rid of it and either replace it with something else or cut your practice time down. So our results, since we've went all in the last 2 years, we played for our program had one playoff win from 1958 one playoff appearance from 1958 until 2008. In 50 years, we'd made the playoffs one time. So we've made the playoffs now 12 or 13 straight, but we had never played for a state championship. The first year we go all in. We dress our entire roster for the state championship game, and we went to state championship. We got beat, but sometimes you lose games. We graduate 13 seniors off that team, 9 offensive starters. So we come back this year with a young team, very inexperienced, super small. I mean, we got 160 guys playing on the offensive line. And we go 8-1 the regular season. We get beat by a good team in the second round, in a huge, very physical game. And, we threw a couple interceptions, or had an interception and a fumble. It cost us the game. It wasn't the physicality, because we played against a team that rushed for 500 yards in round 1. We held them to 200 yards on 50 carries, 4 yards a pop, and it was a war. And our guys were ready, and we had our entire roster out there. Our kids are healthy. So, I mean, if you're beat them up, we got to make practices harder than the games. It's not allowing those guys to play in the games, and you need to look at that, because we haven't had a soft tissue injury or a concussion at the varsity level in 2 seasons. Not one concussion, not one soft tissue injury. We had a backup fracture his hand 2 years ago in a practice, and then we had a kid who fractured his growth plate because he turned the wrong way in our second game. He was our starting quarterback. He turned the wrong way on a trap, got his body all jacked up. They all piled on him. He eventually came back. He was only out, I think, 5 weeks. We've had a few things at the fresh soft level: a high ankle sprain, a broken hand. We've had 2 concussions. I would say we've had 1 legitimate concussion, in the last 2 years. And I figured it up. That's 50 games at all levels, and it's 120 practices. And that's what our injury list looks like. I'm from Illinois, and when I see the amount of people that are injured at the University of Illinois, it pisses me off. And when I see Body by Lou, and I see all this bullshit, and then I see the fact that we never can take the field with our best players because they're all injured, what is the point? What is the point of having a 440-pound hang clean if you can't play on Saturday? And so you got to figure out what your priorities are. Do you want weight room numbers? Do you want physical or whatever that is, or do you want them to play on Friday night or Saturday? And then our kids, I had to update Tony, because when I tweeted that out, we were at 21, but we made it to 23 guys sub 5. I'd like to have all those guys sub 4, but that's free lap timed, and that's with an 80 centimeter line behind the start cone. That's what we get to. We had 23 guys, and that's great. We graduated 13 seniors off our team here. And so defensively, we've had a big boy, a 370-pound nose. So we try to have 9 or 10 other guys that are sub 5 in the 40 defensively.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I think I kind of know the answer to this, but I tried to get you to take the Plainfield North job a couple years ago, and I still wish you would have done it. But I'm sure you've thought about it. How would you differ your program if you were at a school that of 2,300 kids?
Yeah, so I didn't get into a lot of, because I didn't want to take all my time. So we're a team that tries to play as many one-way guys as possible. So we might have, this year we started weeks 1 through 3 because of some disciplinary things with 13 juniors and seniors, because we had a small junior class. We still started, by the end of the year, we had 4 of our 5 offensive linemen going one way. In the state championship season, we went to the state championship and got second. We had 7 one-way starters, and we rotated everybody else. So my first answer to that would be I wouldn't have anyone playing both ways,
right,
or very few. And we had a kid this year that played defensive line and guard for us that was, he could go out and run the same speed as he was 20 mile an hour, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, fifth quarter, sixth quarter, seventh. He's never super fast, but he never slowed down, and he was able to play at a good level in all quarters. But I'll show you when we get into our game day stuff. Like our best running back had 117 carries in 11 weeks. So he's getting like 10 carries a game, and we'll rotate him out. So, even if I had we try to run 8 backs, we try to run 7 backs in a game. I would have wide receivers that if they were away from the play, I wouldn't have them run a route if I wanted to be ready to run the route the next play. If I was in one of those big schools and
so not much would change.
No, we're trying.
You could. This is not a small school program, is what you're saying.
No, we're trying. And here's what playing, and we all get locked into it at any level. I understand if I have 100 kids, I've got 20 really damn good ones. Okay, so if I have 50, I have 9 really damn good ones. But if I only play those 9, then those other ones are going to get disinterested. You're going to need them in crunch time. Your numbers are going to go down. So we want to empower our kids. You want to improve your practice. Tell them on day one. I tell them, guys, I want to try to play 22 guys. If you will prove to me that you deserve to play, we're going to find a place for you, and we will rotate you in. You're a shitty left tackle, but damn it, for one series, we're going to run 5 plays to the right, and we're going to play you at left tackle. But we're never going to ask you to do something that we're going to run right behind you. But he don't know that. And guess what? Your stud left tackle might also be your stud D tackle. So guess what? Maybe we just had a huge 4th down stop where your D tackle was probably wore down. Let's get his ass out. Let's put this kid in. Let's run a few things the other way or some misdirection, or maybe we can run a screen because this kid can at least get in someone's way out in space and find a way to play these subpar kids so that because if you want your kids to be even faster in the 4th quarter, find a way to get them some breaks during their game instead of going Iron Man football like most of us probably played. And when we first did this, our kids got pissed because we had some 2-way starters that were now 1-way starters. And those first couple games, they were like, this kind of sucks. But then as the season wore on and they were kicking ass on one side of the ball, they were pretty happy with how it was going.
Do you have to work 2-way players twice as hard?
No, we don't. So you saw our practice, and we do offense and defense. I know some people that do one day or the other. My thought is let's say my offense day is Wednesday, okay? Or maybe it's Tuesday, whatever it is. And we think something's really good. And then we get into practice, and I go home and watch it that night, and it was terrible. It was a terrible scheme. We can't block it this way. Well, when am I fixing it? So if we do a little bit of offense and a little bit of defense and a little bit of special teams, then we can do the same thing the next day and fix something that we needed to, and it keeps guys fresher. So we'll switch it up. The kids – we don't always start with offense. We don't always start with special teams. We don't always start with defense. We're always changing it up so we're getting our guys at different levels in their practice. We want to do some team offense at the end of practice after we've had an hour and a half. But we also want to do some first thing. We may start practice with a 3-play. It's 1st and goal from the 5, and we got to score. We may start the practice with that sometime. Just have 3 plays or something crazy like that just to